It's absolutely insane how stacked Ford dealerships are all across the country.
There's 88,674 new Ford F-150s out there right now.
Day's supply of these F-150s is getting out of hand. The MSRP on this one is $66,075. Today I'm here at a Ford dealership because they just reported earnings and they signal a disaster for the car market. They're going to need to do more than that if they actually want to move these trucks. Ford just lost $132,000 on this Mach-E. They have so many F-150s that it's taken over their service department's parking lot.
If I looked at just 2023s, there are still 25, almost 26,000 2023 Ford F-150s for sale.
Ford's net income fell 24%. Fleet sales are the only thing that's keeping Ford afloat right now. So Ford's earnings that are connected to retail sales to consumers were down 66% year over year. And then you have the Model E division, which is made up of your F-150 Lightnings, you have your Mach-Es, anything that's EV. Check this out. So Ford lost about $1.3 billion on their EV division, and they sold about 10,000 units in the quarter. So each one of these units actually cost Ford about $132,000. That's a loss of $132,000 to produce these things over the quarter. One big reason why you can't find Ford Mavericks on Ford dealership lots is because a lot of them were designated to be fleet vehicles. So Ford's Pro division, which is made up of fleet vehicles, you see like these white trucks back here, a bunch of these box trucks, and then you have delivery vans. This was really the only bright spot that we see in Ford's earnings. Those sales were up 120%, and a big reason why Ford was able to meet its numbers. So I want to show you the price of a couple of these fleet vehicles. We've got just a two-door truck. This should be one of the cheapest things that they're going to actually send out to their fleets. So this is a 2024 F-150. It's just a regular cab, and it's not four-wheel drive. It's only two-wheel drive, and the MSRP on this one is $39,560. All right, we got a four-door F-150 right beside it. Now this one's a 2023, not a 2024. This one's 24, this one's a 23. F-150, it's a 4x4, it's got four doors, and they're selling this one for $53,415. So when I'm looking at a lot of Ford dealerships that have fleet lots like this one right here, I mean, I'm in a massive lot full of fleet vehicles, I always see a lot of Ford Mavericks. I mean, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 just sitting here now, and a big reason why you don't see a lot of Ford Mavericks sitting on dealership lots for the consumer to actually buy is because a lot of these are actually designated to be sold to fleet customers, to be wholesaled to a lot of these companies. And a big reason for that is because with fleet sales, Ford just wants to pump out volume. They make small margins, get a lot of vehicles sold, whereas in their consumer division, they want to make high margin. And so that's going to lead to them wanting to pump more F-150s to consumers and pump more of these Mavericks to fleet buyers that buy lots and lots and lots of volume. So I want to check the price on one of these Mach-Es that are not selling while I'm here at this Ford lot. So this is a 2023 Premium E all-wheel drive Mustang Mach-E, and the total MSRP on this one's $50,695. So here's the biggest problem for Ford right now, is this stupid car right here. In this quarter, Ford lost $1.32 billion on their EV division. So if you annualize that out, they're losing $5.28 billion on these stupid vehicles. And I do want to check one of these big Expeditions. So this is a 2024 Expedition. It's two-wheel drive, and total price on it is $75,730. So one thing that I think is really, really bad for Ford, as you've seen me walk this whole lot, what do you not notice? There's not a four-door sedan anywhere. They don't do cars anymore. And with them doing that, they have really lost some of their customer base, because if there's a consumer out there that just wants a car that's good on gas, four-door sedan, affordable vehicle, they're not coming to Ford. So all of those consumers have been lost to Toyota, to Nissan, to Honda, to Subaru. They're not coming here for that because Ford does not offer it anymore. All right, so this one is a Ranger. It's a Lariat. It's only two-wheel drive. It's a 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine, and the total MSRP on this one is $45,920. And we can look at one of the highest sought after brands right now in America. And what is that? That's Toyota. And what is the only vehicle that we see stacking up at all of these Toyota dealerships? It's the big Toyota Tundra. So that's telling you that there's no appetite right now in this country for these big, expensive $60, $70, $80, $90,000 trucks. People don't want them. They can't afford them. We have to go to smaller production, cheaper, affordable trucks. All right, let's check this one out. Very Blue XLT, one of your mid-tier levels of these F-150s. This one is a 2024 4x4 XLT, and it's the hybrid model, and the total price, the MSRP on this one, is $66,075. So here's another problem for Ford. 92% of the trucks that were made in this past quarter, they were these big F-150s. And I know F-150s are the #1 selling truck in America, but the problem is they're stacking up at these dealers' lots. You know what's not stacking up at these dealers' lots? Ford Mavericks, but they're not pushing production to cheaper trucks, which is what America wants right now. No, they're staying pat with their high-margin F-150s that these dealers are now starting to turn away. That's a problem for Ford. And I did want to check on one of these Lightnings that's sitting here and not selling. So this is a 2023 F-150 4x4 Lightning, and the total price on it is $74,660. No wonder this thing is not selling. And this is not just a dealership specific problem. I've been to this dealership many times before. Not one market adjustment, not one crazy add-on that I've seen at this dealership. And still, they're having a problem finding a place to park a vehicle. There's service centers over there. There's new vehicles scattered all around. It's a Ford problem. Prices are too high. It's a consumer problem. They can't afford these vehicles. And this is a massive, massive lot, so I'm not going to walk the whole thing to try to find it, but I would assume one of these two are probably going to be pretty close to the cheapest thing that they have here on the lot. Actually, I was wrong about this one. This one's a Ford Escape. It's a 2023 model, but it's still $42,000. All right, this one's going to be pretty close. So this is a 2023 Ford Escape ST line, and the price on this one is $36,780. So here's the thing. We're seeing that Ford's retail business is basically down 66% year over year, and there's a good reason for it. These trucks are too expensive. Things cost too much. Monthly payments on all of these trucks are way too high. Consumers cannot afford it anymore, and we're now starting to see it in the numbers. Fleet sales are good, but retail sales are absolutely terrible. And now, because of this, dealerships are starting to turn down allocations, and that's where you see Ford Blue, their retail model. That's when you start to see the numbers suffer. Because really, at the end of the day, the consumer for Ford are their dealerships. So if dealerships start turning down allocations because these dealers can't sell vehicles to consumers, that's when Ford gets hit. So I see this quite frequently, and I'm noticing it here at this lot today, that there's a lot of these F-150 Lightnings designated to be fleet vehicles. And that surprises me quite a bit, because I feel like if you're putting the kind of miles that a lot of these companies are going to put on these F-150 Lightnings, I'm surprised that they would want to go this route instead of an ICE vehicle with the charging problems, with just the problems that you have with the F-150 Lightnings. But maybe they're trying to figure out ways to get some of these Lightnings moved, and maybe wholesaling them to companies in fleet service. Maybe there's an idea brewing there, because I can't sell them to consumers. Maybe you buy 150 F-150s, we'll throw in 10 free Lightnings with the deal. There you go. That's the plan. Jim, call me. We'll figure it out. It's so bad at Ford right now that they're offering their dealers a bonus for every additional truck that they sell over their target goal. I can tell you that a lot of these Ford dealers, they're never going to hit that, but they're offering anywhere from $750 up to $1,500 per truck sold on these dealership lots. And this is something that they haven't had to do in over 3 years. That's how we know how bad it is because these manufacturers, they can't really afford to give out this money to dealerships for individual sales, but they're doing it to try to incentivize, to try to get these dealerships to push these trucks out, because they're running out of room and they're turning down allocations, and Ford needs them to continue to take their allocations, because that's where Ford makes its sales. That's how they deliver vehicles, is to these dealerships, not to you and me. When I buy a truck, when you buy a truck as a consumer, that's not a sell for Ford. Ford needs these dealers to take these trucks.
There are still 25, almost 26,000 2023 Ford F-150s for sale nationwide. What's really interesting about this, Brandon, is that these vehicles are actually selling super fast. There's a 27 days supply. That's because there's huge discounts from dealers and obviously no new shipments from Ford of these new 2023 F-150s. But let me go back. Let's look at the 2024s. They are not cheap, man. First row here, all 65,000, 66,000, 65,000. We'll do that first one right up here. A $65,000 2024 Ford F-150. And yes, the market day supply is way higher, 10 times higher at 268 days. 3,972 of these for sale within 100 miles of Detroit, Michigan. Only 668 have sold in the last 45 days. But you came here for the monthly payment data, man. Let's take a peek. The out-the-door price, when you add in the dealer doc fee, sales tax, title fee, and registration, would be $69,364. Monthly payment on that? Holy cannoli. That's $1,400 for a monthly payment.
So I found that these Bronco Sports are some of the most affordable vehicles that Ford actually has for sale. You got your Escapes too, but this is a 2024 Bronco Sport Big Bend, and it's a 4x4, and the total price on it is $33,025. So here are the cracks in the system that we're starting to see, and we're seeing it from this earnings report from Ford, is that dealerships, they can no longer take a lot of these vehicles, and it's soon to hit all of these other manufacturers. And these fleet sales, they can't keep them afloat, but only so long. The retail sales are starting to tank at these dealerships, and when they tank, they can't take vehicles, and that's when these auto manufacturers, they're going to start suffering. All of these dealers all at the same time are going to say, you know what, Ford, I can't take any more trucks. I'm already full to the brim. I can't take any more. Stop sending me trucks. And that's when Ford starts to get hurt really, really bad. All right, and a Mustang. Can't leave here without checking a Mustang for you. This is a 2024 GT Coupe. It's the 5.0, and the total price on it is $44,505.
So I'm going through automotive news here. We check these different outlets or whatever to find stories, to report on things that are interesting, things that I can give my take on from the used car perspective, and just things that I observe by watching the market. Just stumbled upon this little nugget. Seems funny to me. It says that Mustang Mach-E sales underscore pricing issue. Obviously, across the market, doesn't matter what car we're looking at, there's pricing issues at all-time highs as far as pricing, MSRPs go on cars. Not the story, but that's the headline. But under here it says Mustang Mach-E sales have jumped since Ford announced price cuts to ongoing 2023 models. So they've done price cuts, and that has risen their sales numbers on these Mustang Mach-E's. Since these cuts went into place, they posted a 64%, what they say surge, a 64% surge for the Mach-E in February. Surge is a very strong word. When you're looking at just percentages, this is how the numbers can be skewed. You can use percentages or you can use actual sales numbers or whatever, but Mustang Mach-E's, they weren't selling, right? So this surge, 64% surge. So they went from selling like 2 a month to selling 3 a month, and now there's this big. It's just funny because they don't need a 64% surge in their sales volume to actually be moving these. They need like 15,000%, maybe even way more than that, because they're just not selling the Mach-E's at all. So this surge of 64%. Is not going to move the needle. It's just funny that the types of wording that is used. And don't get me wrong, I really like automotive news. You have to take their information, the highlights that they say when they use something like surge. I mean, it would be more accurate to use the actual numbers and saying, okay, well, they sold this many more, and it's still not good. They're an industry publication, great reporting. It's just you have to take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt because they are skewed toward the dealer side, the manufacturer side, whatever. They're not for it's not a publication for the consumer. So anyway, I just thought it was funny to see the wording behind the explosion, the surge in sales for these Mach-E's. But my guess would be that if you go down to your local Ford dealership, they would still really like you to take one of those Mach-E's off their hands, even amidst the surge in demand. for these Mach-E's.
See this a lot, and I'm seeing it a lot on this lot right here. I'm seeing a lot on this lot right here. A lot on this lot right here. One of these Mach-E's while we're here, they're not selling. They're not, nope, faces on the back of them. Nope, we're getting too wordy. Stop it. Absolutely stacked. Look, we got trucks from all the way down there to all the way down there. No, that's stupid.